So you're here to learn how you can make this super easy, super delicious looking flower. So this is on a circular canvas, as you can see. It's so easy. It just takes a lot of paint, but it's so beautiful and it's so worth it. I just love it so much. And it's not quite dry yet. I suspect it'll take a couple more days before it gets there, but it's dry to the touch on the outside, so that's a good thing. So I just found the center and I created a circle shape in the middle so that I could have a very good diagram. So this took almost 2 bags of Gaffrey paint, which I believe is 2 quarts. I used red and I used yellow ochre mixed with titanium white to create a very soft pink. The yellow ochre just helps to create a little more of a neutral shade. Then I grabbed my piping bag and my tip number 127D. 127 itself is a fairly large tip, but 127D is even larger. So I do encourage you to check it out because I think flowers, the bigger the better. So this is definitely one of those moments. I took a little bit of red mixed with my pink and I placed it right on the bottom of the piping bag. I then used the flower that I wasn't going to use in a painting to create a little extra height in the middle. I piped and moved my cake stand at the same time. And you can see why I chose to add some red towards the bottom of the bag. And when I say the bottom, I mean the larger edge of the piping tip, which is the one that faces down when you pipe. And you can see it just creates a little more of a gradient, and I like that. So I did this sculpted painting in 2 sessions. I did the center first, and then I let it dry for about 4 or 5 days before I went back in to create the second part. This is a new day. My center is completely dry. And the reason for doing that is because I'm going to start piping from the outside in. Now, if I would have known exactly what my plans were, I would have piped the center on a piece of parchment paper, and then I would have transferred it over just so I can make it easy for me. But this is how I ended up doing it, and it still worked. I really like it. I think it's beautiful. So here I'm doing a technique that I've invented. I call it priming the bag, and this is where I take 2 colors. So here I have pink and white, And I massage them inside the bag because I really want to create a coating inside the bag, and I want to create a really seamless blend when I'm piping. So you can see here in a minute, you get a very bright white on the outside and a very, very strong pink on the inside, but the blending is fairly seamless. And I just went back in with white on the top and pink on the bottom, like you can see in the bag there, so that the white continues to come through fairly bright. It's just creating a seamless blend, which I am a huge fan of. I liked creating this with the petals hanging over the edge ever so slightly. I think that just makes it extra fancy. So here we go in to mix up another batch of paint. And you can see I like to have a little fun with my paint mixing. Look how beautiful. Piping the larger petals around the outside, I followed a very slight C shape, as you can see. And as I work inwards more towards the center, I stop following that C shape quite so strongly, and I start following more some organic shapes. And every time I am lifting up my piping tip after I finish doing a petal, I'm just giving it a few twists to make sure that it is tight. So then I just mixed up another batch, and I went ahead and got that in the bag, and I kept on piping. So at this point, it was better for me to sit down and be able to maintain as much control of my piping tip as possible. I didn't want the wet paint and the dry paint to really mix together, and I wanted to be very strategic with how I place these petals. Is my tip was far more up and down as I got really close to that center that I'd already piped. And this final painting color. I just used whatever was left in the bag plus some white, and I really did this to emphasize the center, and it's still kind of married in with the pink very nicely, but it's a little bit brighter. So this part was very, very tricky, but I managed to do okay, and it looks really, really good. That's amazing. And then of course I had to get my husband to come admire this with me. It took so much more paint than I thought, but oh my god, isn't that glorious?
It looks so good.
Ruben, isn't that just the most fanciest flower ever?
Yeah.
I just think it's so fantastic. So of course I had to sit down and admire it for quite a while. And here's what it looks like wet. And this is what it looks like dry. Look at that amazing texture. Doesn't that just look so fabulous? Oh, I'm so proud of this one. All right, you guys, thank you for hanging out with me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.